Anyone down for some pizza? Hi everybody, Anthony from Awesome Anthony Productions here, and today I'm going to give you my review of the latest big screen reboot for the crime-fighting turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. But before we get started, you know exactly what to do. Please leave a like to help me out with the algorithm so I can reach a bigger audience, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss any of my new content. Now let's get into it. TMNT Mutant Mayhem, of course, gives us the story of the Ninja Turtles, led by Leonardo, voiced by Gumball himself, Nicholas Cantu, the always angry and ready to fight Raphael, voiced by Brady Noon, the always goofy and fun-loving Michelangelo, voiced by Shimon Brown Jr., and the nerdy tech wizard Donatello, voiced by Micah Abbey. After an incident between the Scientific Research Corporation TCRI, led by Cynthia Utrom, voiced by Maya Rudolph, and disgraced mutation scientist Baxter Stockman, voiced here by Giancarlo Esposito, a mysterious mutagen ooze falls into the sewers, changing the turtles into children and a random rat into a humanoid talking rat man, Splinter, voiced here by Jackie Chan, who becomes their adopted father and teaches them the ways of ninjutsu, all while pressuring them to avoid humans and stay in the sewers with him forever. 15 years later, New York City is under the threat of the villainous mutant Superfly, voiced by Ice Cube, who's leading an army of mutants to take over and kinda get rid of the humans. As all this is going on, the turtles accidentally run into a human teenager who wants to be a reporter, April O'Neil, voiced here by Ayo Edebiri, who agrees to film them putting a stop to Superfly and publish a story on the turtles so that they can finally be accepted and join the real world.
We take out Superfly, and then everyone will think we're cool. They'll accept us.
I have been a huge fan of the Ninja Turtles ever since I was a kid growing up watching that 2003 show. I love the original movie from the 90s, and the second one, even though it's a little too goofy every now and then. That third one was kind of trash. I was a big fan of the 2007 TMNT movie as a kid. I'm even one of the few defenders of the Ugly as Hell movies from 2014 and 2016. And Out of the Shadows is pretty satisfying to me for none other reason than to give us the big budget cinematic debuts of Krang, Bebop, and Rocksteady. I was excited to see where a sequel would go from there, so I was a little disappointed when I heard that we were getting another reboot. A reboot? But when I heard it was going to be a stylistically animated CGI film, I was cautiously optimistic. Then I saw that trailer, and let me tell you, I was hooked the second I saw that incredible animation while watching the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles actually act like teenagers. This movie f***ing delivers. For starters, the animation is an absolute joy to watch.
It's enough to make a grown man cry.
When I originally saw the trailer, I called this Spider-Verse style animation, but now that I've seen the movie, I don't think that's entirely accurate. Yes, the frame rates speed up and down depending on the action, and there's a very unique look to the CGI that reminds you of hand-drawn animation, but the incredibly unique thing here is that the entire thing feels like it was hand-drawn, like penciled-in animation in a three-dimensional space.
The doodles that you do in the sides of your notebook were taken, extrapolated, and made into the look of a whole movie.
Weird shapes and crazy perspective.
The lines are rugged and go out of bounds, the colors bleed out of objects and characters, hardly anything is symmetrical, every character has a unique design that makes even the humans feel extraordinary, and when the screen is completely full of characters and the action is going pretty crazy, it's still easy to tell what's going on and never becomes overwhelming. And the level of detail is just insane here.
The level of detail is astounding.
From obvious Easter eggs like the Laird or Eastman High School, referencing the original comic creators of the Turtles, to the sheer amount of history and personality that's put into the Turtles and Splinter's lair. This film is a visual treat for anyone who enjoys comics or animation, right down to the designs of the Turtles being a cross between the original comic designs and the 80s cartoon, with their intro even giving us a moment of pupilless joy to fans of the comics in the 2012 show.
I love it! I love it more! I love it!
The rest of the mutants all have great larger-than-life designs themselves too, and they all work as stylistic updates to those characters. While I'm talking about the characters, I have to say that I really love the Turtles here. They're Gen Z'd enough without ever coming off as annoying, and really felt like believable modern teens. Some people and older audience members might be a little put off by Gen Z-isms like Riz, or references to BTS in Avengers Endgame, but it really makes sense considering that they spend all their time in the sewers and really only learn about the world above from sneaking around or looking at it through the internet. They really did a great job in adapting the Turtles to a new audience while still maintaining what works and what we love about each individual one.
Well, we prefer the term ooze, but yeah.
It's like more like, it's just nicer.
It rolls off the tongue better, yeah.
Ooze. It's nice, right? It's ooze.
Leo is still struggling between having to be the leader and wanting to have fun as a teenager.
We're really sorry, Splinter. Some of the guys wanted to get pizza and I tried to talk them out of it.
Leo!
Mikey is still finding fun in every situation and going about every day without a care in the world. Raph is still dealing with his rage issues.
I dream about fighting every night! night.
You've got a rage problem, right?
It's not a problem.
And Donnie's still the smartest.
Our dad is definitely not a giant rat.
And every turtle gets a moment to shine, or a line, or 15 to make you laugh. And though they don't really get individual emotional arcs, they kind of share a group arc with their whole wanting to be accepted story, and it ends up at a pretty emotional climax to hit all the right buttons for me. It all helps that the voice actors all did great jobs here too, though I'm not gonna lie, it took me a little bit to get used to the new actors for the turtles.
They're babies!
But by the end of the movie, I thought that Nicholas Cantu brought the right amount of heart, wisdom, and awkwardness to Leonardo. Brady Noon nailed the gruff, constantly on the verge of breaking tone of Raphael. Micah Abbey, though he sounds a little too young here and there, brought the right amount of wit and dry humor to Donatello. And Shimon Brown Jr., who I originally thought when I heard him in the trailer sounded way too old for Mikey,
Hey, why did we pick a fruit shaped exactly like my head?
really nailed that lovable goofball energy. And I love the approach that the filmmakers did with letting them go into a sound booth and just kind of riff off each other and improv, because a lot of that camaraderie and chemistry comes through in the vocal performances, and it all really works. Io Edeberry also did great as April. I enjoyed her character arc and the more supporting role that she plays for the characters this time around. She worked a hell of a lot more for me than Megan Fox did, that's for sure. I also want to give it up to Jackie Chan as Splinter.
You ratted us out. Hey.
Don't use that word that way.
I mean, it's 2023. Sorry, Dad.
His natural comedic timing really works well with the writing here, and he even had an arc that worked very well for the story. Even if I'm just a little disappointed that they did away with his backstory and he's just a regular rat instead of a martial arts master that got mutated, or the rat of a martial arts master that got mutated. But that's just a fan nitpick. The rest of the supporting cast were all fine too. Giancarlo Esposito was always brilliant. Maya Rudolph was great here as Cynthia Utram too, and I didn't recognize her voice whatsoever. I was surprised when I saw it in the credits. John Cena was also surprisingly good as Rocksteady. I couldn't tell it was him. Though I could immediately recognize Seth Rogen's voice as Bebop, although he did a good job. He's experienced with voice acting.
Me and John Cena are Bebop and Rocksteady.
What you looking at, punk? Yeah, bro, what you looking at?
The rest of the mutants, Rose Byrne as Leatherhead.
G'day, fellas.
Natasha Demetriou as Wingnut. Post Malone as Ray Fillet. Hannibal Buress as Genghis Frog. They don't really have that much of a character presence, but they all have at least one funny line or a badass action moment, and I was happy with all their designs. I thought they were very unique and cool. Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko, though, he definitely stood out among the rest of the mutants, and his interactions with Mikey were some of the funniest parts of the movie for me.
That one seems cool.
Bruh.
Broski.
Bro.
Bro Sam.
Abracadabra.
Lastly, though, is Ice Cube as Superfly, and I think he gave one of the best performances in this movie.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, he sounds like Ice Cube, but his voice absolutely nails that feeling of the big guy who's friendly at first, but you can tell that if he gets mad, you really don't want to be there.
Oh man, hook me up. What the f y'all doing? Y'all rationing around here? Come on, hook me up. Two little string bass. Give me the goddamn string bass.
He can go from playful and funny to immediately threatening and scary at the drop of a hat, and they wisely did not hold back with his dialogue, letting Ice Cube get a few mild curses in there to really accentuate his voice performance.
6 in the morning, police at my door.
He was a great villain too, scary and a definite threat for the Turtles, even though his master plan was a bit cliche.
He starts monologuing.
Speaking of the plot, the story really worked well for me here too. Counting out fan nitpicks and me being slightly disappointed at certain backstory elements that were left out for the mutants and Splinter, every part of this movie and story feel like Ninja Turtles through and through, and was very satisfying for me being a fan. It's all great and feels very faithful to the Turtles, even with the changes that were made.
I love this.
Before I wrap it up here, I have to mention Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross's score, because it is f***ing amazing, and I've been listening to it on repeat since I saw the movie. I also enjoyed the sparingly used needle drops to 1990s hip-hop, and they definitely fit the scenes they popped up in. Lastly, this movie is really damn funny. A lot of the jokes land here, and many times I found myself laughing out loud, though I guess that can bring me to my one complaint about the movie. Some of the self-referential jokes, especially when it comes to April, go on just a little bit too long.
Stop being meta.
But that's really the only thing that rubbed me the wrong way with this movie outside of the few fan nitpicks that I mentioned. This movie is fun, funny, heartfelt, beautifully and inventively animated, features a great voice cast and a stellar soundtrack, and hopefully will reinvigorate the Turtles as a big screen franchise again, because I need more of this like yesterday.
Give me some of that.
And that's my review of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. If you like this video, you know exactly what to do. Please leave a like, it really helps out with the algorithm so I can reach a bigger audience. Subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss any of my new content. While you're at it, you can also find the links to my socials in the description below. Leave a comment with your thoughts, let me know if you saw the movie and what you thought of it. And lastly, you can click or tap on these cards here. They'll take you to my review of Haunted Mansion or just over to my channel where you can check out my reviews, my shorts, and my old shit. Thanks for watching, everybody. I have no idea what I'm seeing next, so I will see you on the next one.